Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You are tuned in to Esoteric Guidance, and my name is Nehru. We are continuing our journey at this time through the ancient Book of Jubilees. And as always, thank you so much, Soul Tribe, returning listeners, new subscribers. I believe we're on the brink of something beautiful. I believe we're on the brink of something beautiful. Again, it's always first the spiritual, then the natural. Okay, as it is above, so will it be below. Okay? We learn that the earth where we walk on now, the Gaia that we walk on now, is between the incorruptible and the corruptible. That is currently where we are with this matrix. Okay, we are between those two realms. Corruptible, which is paradise, or excuse me, incorruptible, which is paradise. I don't know if I think I said that incorrectly the first time. Confirmation. So incorruptible and corruptible. What is corruptible? Corruptible is the darkness, it's the abyss. Okay? It's where the angels of darkness will dwell forever, one day, and forever. So we're going to pick up where we are finishing up Levi's dream at Bethel. He is appointed to the priesthood, so the Levitical priesthood again is established. Jacob celebrates the Feast of Tabernacles and offers tithes, and the institution of tithing is established. Okay? Again, that's under the law. If you want to know what tithing means under grace, which is we are now under grace, we are in the 6th dispensation, okay, because of Yeshua and his death and resurrection. We are now on the 6th dispensation, and through that grace, the tithing and how we go about it was changed. Okay? Just like the Sabbath and the laws about the Sabbath were changed. And I don't mean the way that man changed them. Man changed them for Sunday to celebrate the resurrection of Yeshua. But the original Sabbath, which I still honor and will continue to, is Saturday. Okay? And I will do so even more so moving forward. Okay? Saturday. So the Old Testament, or the consummation of Yeshua to man, built the bridge for man back to highest divine white light without all the sacrifices, without the blood offerings, without the doves and the slaying of the heifer and all of that, without the pouring of the blood of the animal. So it did away with all of those things, and in the process of killing all those rituals, it also destroyed the religiousness of the tithe. Man will not tell you that in most cases, because, certainly not in some place called a church, because money has now become the love, exclusively of it, I should say, has become the root of all evil. So what does it mean when it says the love of money? The love of money to the exclusion of everything else. So those changers that are in the churches, many of them are ministers, that lie to you and tell you that you will not be blessed unless you give 10% of your money to that church, they are lying and they are deceiving you out of their ass. Okay? That is not true. And if you don't believe me, stop tithing and see if highest divine white light does not show you more wisdom, give you more wisdom. Again, I have not given to an organization considered a church or called a church in 2 years. In that 2 years, I've received more spiritual downloads and more ascensions along and collaborations with the ethereal and with the esoteric, with the extraterrestrial, than I have in the first 46 years and 9 months of my life in this lifetime. So how is it possible that one who is not giving to the church in tithing anymore, not giving any of their money to the church anymore, how is it that that individual can still have communication with and greater, clearer, purer communication with highest divine white light without tithing? How is that possible if all who do not tithe to the church 10% will die and go to hell? How is that possible? Man doesn't have an answer for that. Man does not have an answer for that question. How is that? Because man is lying and deceiving and manipulating and narcissistic and covering the truth and deception. That's why. I'm hearing. And God said, highest divine white light said, El Shaddai, Elohim, the great I am, has said, these things will come to pass. Now these things are coming to pass. So let's pick up in the 13th verse of the previously read section. And all that is left thereof, and becometh old, let it be regarded as polluted. And again, we're talking about the sacrifices and clean sacrifices as opposed to unclean sacrifices. Let it be burnt with fire, for it is unclean. And thus let them eat it together, and thus let them eat it together in the sanctuary, and let them not suffer it to become old. And all the tithes of the oxen and sheep shall be holy unto the Lord, and shall belong to his priests, which they will eat before him from year to year. For thus it is ordained and engraven regarding the tithe on the heavenly tables. Okay, so now the next section talks about Jacob's vision. He celebrates the 8th day of the tabernacles. I'm seeing an image out of my left peripheral vision. There's no one there physically. The birth of Benjamin and death of Rachel. By the way, once again, thank you so much for those of us who are doing white magic to protect the high vibrational collective. Okay, the ascended masters, the earth angels, the light workers and star seeds, the high vibrational empathic spirits, spirit guides who are in flesh form on this earth. Thank you for those of you who are doing white magic in order to protect us. And on the following night, on the 22nd day of this month, Jacob resolved to build that place and to surround the court with a wall, and to sanctify it and make it holy forever, for himself and his children after him. And the Lord appeared to him by night and blessed him and said unto him, Thy name shall be called Jacob, but Israel shall they name thy name. So again, Jacob's name turned to Israel. Again, you reach a certain level and place, you can, anyway, it's available to you, to esoterically reach a certain place where your name is changed. I remember writing in my journal, I don't know if I have it in any of the journals that I have, let me quickly grab one and see. But I recall writing in the journal, I believe it was in the Black Friday journal, the first journal that I shared in that journal playlist on this channel, about my life. Okay, this journal covers the first 3 years of the last 10 years. The other journal covers the last 7 years of the last 10 years. I don't know if it's gonna be in here, but I wrote in this journal, or a journal, there's something about the Gaston energy, Gaston. I was a part of a religious house for 20 years there's a gentleman there whose name is Gaston, literally like that evil deity spirit. It's spelled exactly like that. He's from Trinidad, okay? That might be significant for you. After he prayed for me one Sunday, Highest Divine White Light told me never to have anybody else pray for my kidney healing anymore. That kidney transplant happened on 7/7 for our new subscribers. I was on dialysis for 4.5 years. But I wrote in a journal that I stopped being Kevin a long time ago. I wrote that in a journal. And this is going back to probably 2016 or something like that. Maybe even before that. Okay. So, let's continue. And to sanctify it and make it holy forever, for himself and his children after him. And the Lord appeared to him by night, and blessed him, and said unto him, Thy name shall not be called Jacob, but Israel shall they name thy name. And he said unto him again, I am the Lord who created the heaven and the earth, and I shall increase thee and multiply thee exceedingly, and kings will come forth from thee, and they will judge everywhere, wherever the foot of the sons of men hath trodden. And I shall give to thee I shall give to thy seed all the earth, which is under heaven, and they will judge all the nations according to their desires. And after that, they will give possession of the whole earth and get possession of the whole earth and inherit it forever. And he finished speaking with him, and he went up from him, and Jacob looked till he had ascended into heaven. And he saw in a vision of the night, and behold, an angel descended from heaven, and 7 tablets in his hand, and he gave to Jacob, and he read them, and knew all that was written therein, which would befall him and his sons through all the ages. The one thing that I know I've been given so far, spiritually, from Highest Divine White Light, is a gold scroll. This gold scroll was placed in my left hand. Okay? And he showed him all that was written on the tablets, and said unto him, Do not build this place, and do not make it an eternal sanctuary, and do not dwell here, for this is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham thy father, and dwell with Isaac thy father until the day of the death of thy father, For in Egypt thou wilt die in peace, and in this land thou wilt be buried with honor in the sepulchre of thy fathers with Abraham and Isaac. Fear not, for as thou hast seen and read it, thus will it all be. And there's a period there, it probably shouldn't be. And do thou write down everything as thou hast seen and read. And Jacob said, Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen? And he said unto him, I will bring all things to thy remembrance. Thank you, highest divine white light, for bringing all things to our remembrance. Thank you, highest divine white light, for bringing all things to our remembrance. And he went up from him, and he awake from his sleep, and he remembered everything which he had read and seen, and he wrote down all the words which he had read and seen, and he celebrated there yet another day. And he sanctified thereon according to all that he sanctified on the former days, and called the name Addition, and called its name Addition. For this day was added, and the former days called the feast. And thus it was manifested that it should be, and it is written on the heavenly tables, wherefore, confirmation with that horn honk, wherefore it was revealed to him that he should celebrate it, and it be added to the 7 days of the feast. And its name was called Addition, because that was recorded amongst the days of the feast days, according to the number of the days of the year. And where we at what time? 1721. And in the night, on the 23rd of the month, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died. So again, pay attention to the names. Deborah or Rebekah might resonate for your journey today. And they buried her beneath the city under the oak of the river. And he called the name of this place the River of Deborah. And the oak of the mourning of Deborah. And Rebekah went and returned to her house to his father Isaac. And Jacob sent by her hand rams and sheep and he-goats, and that she should prepare a meal for his father, such as he desired. And he sent after his mother till he came to the land of Kibraton, and he dwelt there. And Rachel bare a son in the night, and called his name Son of My Sorrow, for she suffered in giving birth, but his father called his name Benjamin. On the 11th of the 8th month, in the first of the 6th week of this Jubilee. And Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephrath. The same is Bethlehem. Okay, so Ephrath is Bethlehem today. And Jacob built a pillar on the grave of Rachel, on the road above her grave. (1926). Okay, so here comes Rueben disqualifying himself. Rueben sinned with Bilhah. Laws regarding incest. Jacob's children. So we'll finish up this section with this section here. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. And Jacob went and dwelt to the south of Magdalarja F, and he went to his father Isaac, he and Leah his wife, and the new moon on the new moon of the 10th month. And Rueben saw Bilhah, Rachel's maid, the concubine of his father, bathing in the water in a secret place, and he loved her. He didn't love her, he just fell in love with what he was seeking, which is not love, or what he was looking for. I said what he was seeking. So maybe he was seeking her. So maybe he went looking for her. And he hid himself at night, and he entered the house of Bilhah at night, and he found her sleeping alone on a bed in her house. And he lay with her, and she awake and saw, and behold, Rueben was lying with her in the bed, and she covered the border of her covering. And she uncovered the border of her covering, and seized him, and cried out, and discovered that it was Rueben. And she was ashamed because of him, and released her hand from him, and he fled. And she lamented because of this thing exceedingly, and did not tell it to anyone. And when Jacob returned and sought her, she said unto him, I am not clean for thee, for I have been defiled as regards thee, for Rueben hath defiled me, and hath laid with me in the night, and I was asleep, and did not discover until he uncovered my skirt, and slept with me. So perhaps she thought this was Jacob. And Jacob was exceedingly wroth or angry with Rueben, because he hath lain with Bilhah, because he had uncovered his father's skirt. Okay, so Rueben decided to sleep with one of his father's women. Okay, my father took my first wife. All right, I've never slept with any of his women, even though there was opportunity. And Jacob did not approach her again, because Rueben had defiled her. And as for any man who uncovereth his father's skirt, I'm losing my place here. Covered his father's skirt, his deed is wicked exceedingly, for he is abominable before the Lord. For his reason it is written and ordained on the heavenly tables, that a man should not lie with his father's wife, and should not uncover his father's skirt, for this is unclean. They shall surely die together, the man who lieth with his father's wife, and the woman also, for they have wrought uncleanness on the earth. And there shall be nothing unclean before our God in the nation which he hath chosen for himself as a possession. And again it is written a second time, Cursed he be who lieth with the wife of his father, for he hath uncovered his father's shame. And all the holy ones of the Lord said, So be it, so be it. So the heavens agreed with this command. And do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel that they observe this word, for it entaileth a punishment of death, and it is unclean, and there is no atonement. That word is important now. Forever, to atone for the man who hath committed this sin. But he is to be put to death and slain and stoned with stones and rooted out from the midst of the people of our God. For to no man who doth so in Israel is it permitted to remain alive a single day on earth, for he is abominable and unclean. And let him not say to Rueben, was granted life and forgiveness after he had lain with his father's concubine, and to her also, though she had a husband, and her husband Jacob his father was still alive. For unto that time there had not been revealed the ordinance and judgment and law in the completeness for all, but in thy days it hath been revealed. So prior there was no law concerning incest. But at this point in time there was a law instilled concerning incest. Thank God. As a law of seasons and of days, and an everlasting law for the everlasting generations. So this is what I understand about this today, about incest. And as sin was today the word perpetuated is standing out. So as sin was perpetuated, sin continued to perpetuate. Sin, transgressions against the highest divine white light, the sole creator, and that's S-O-L-E and S-O-U-L, okay, the sole creator. And man got further and further away from righteousness and cleanness and purity. Not only were man's days shortened, but disease and plagues had began to come upon man because of man's sins. In this time when this canonical text was being written. Okay? And so because of the diseases and the plagues, one reason why incest was stopped was because of this. This is where the notion of sleeping with your family members, incest, breeds malfunctioned seed. Okay? So seed that has 6 fingers and 12 toes, right? Those mutants. That is where this comes from. Okay? That is where this comes from. Finding where I left off here. And for this law there is no consummation of days, and no atonement for it, but they must both be rooted out in the midst of the nation. On the day whereon they committed it, they shall slay them. And do thou, Moses, write it down for Israel, that they may observe it and do according to these words, and not commit sin unto death. For the Lord our God is judge, who respecteth not persons and accepteth not gifts. And tell them these words of the covenant, that they may hear and observe and be on their guard with respect to them, and not be destroyed and rooted out of the land 4. Uncleanness and an abomination and a contamination and a pollution are all they who commit it on the earth before our God, and there is no greater sin than the fornication which they committeth on earth. For Israel is a holy nation unto the Lord its God, and a nation of inheritance, and a priestly and royal nation for his own possession, and there shall no such uncleanness appear in the midst of the holy nation. And in the 3rd year of the 6th week, Jacob and his sons went and dwelt in the house of Abraham, near Isaac his father, and Rebekah his mother. And these were the names of the sons of Jacob. And the first Rueben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, the sons of Leah, and the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah, Gad and Asher, and Dinah, the daughter of Leah, the only daughter of Jacob. And they came and bowed themselves to Isaac and Rebekah, and when they saw them, they blessed Jacob and all his sons. And Isaac rejoiced exceedingly, for he saw the sons of Jacob, his younger son, and he blessed them. Okay? And so we know those 12 sons are the 12 patriarchs of Jacob. Okay, those are his 12 sons. And again, that canonical text was the canonical text that we most recently finished up sharing. The 12 patriarchs. Again, there's a playlist. Okay? So thank you so much again for tuning in. It's 32 minutes exactly on the timer. Alexa, what time is it? Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 1:01 p.m.
I don't need to say anything about that. That's an 11, right? We get the significance of that synchronicity, right? Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, expect a low of 78 degrees.
Okay. So, thank you so much as always for tuning in. Again, my name is Nehru. This is Esoteric Guidance, helping us all become our highest, purest, truest version of ourselves possible. You are more than a human being. You are more than a human being. You are more than a human being first. First the spiritual, then the natural. So you were before you became. The wisdom that is within you is great if you would only access it. Confirmation. The wisdom that is within you is tremendous if you would only access it. Be not dismayed. Man is not winning. The Luciferians will not win. They did not win. They can't win. But it takes you and I to come in flesh form, Soul Tribe Collective, healers, alchemists, earth angels, ascended masters. It takes you and I to denounce these false judges. And you meet them and see them all around us every day. Don't try to fight them with picket signs, because that's a natural thing. You fight fire with fire when it comes to the spiritual things of this universe. Okay? Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Because that's what the enemy did. And that's what the enemy is doing. Because the enemy underestimated you. The enemy thought you were going to be a pushover. The enemy thought that you were going to run and hide. The enemy thought that you were going to be a recluse. The enemy thought. So the enemy brought the knife to the gunfight. They showed up to watch your house burn. But somehow, some way, you know, fire jumps, fire leaps, right? They have now caught fire. And the enemy today, right now, on 8, whatever today is, 8, 14, 15, what's today's date? 8/14, the enemy is being denounced. Alexa, what does denounced mean?
Denounced is a form of the verb denounce, which is usually defined as to condemn or censure openly or publicly. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for denounce.
Alexa, give me more definitions for denounce.
I have 4 more definitions for the verb denounce. 1. To make a formal accusation against, as to the police or in a court. 2. To give formal notice of the termination or denial of a treaty, pact, agreement, or the like. 3. To announce or proclaim, especially as something evil or calamitous. 4. To portend.
The third definition, to announce or proclaim, especially as something evil or calamitous. So thank you so much once again for tuning in, and as always, be encouraged.